some jumping at the juke joint, or some jumping on a Saturday night. Come and see me in the juke joint, and everything's gonna be alright. I see them dancing in the juke joint, clapping hands and yelling for more. It's gonna happen in the juke joint. I can't wait till I get you on the floor. I'm gonna buy a brand new suit and I'll be oozing style, putting on my favorite hat, and you'll be wearing that dress that drives me wild. Jumping, jiving in the juke joint, everybody's just having fun. Oh, baby, meet me at the juke joint, we'll dance until we see the sun. Some jumping at the juke joint, some jumping on a Saturday night. Come and see me at the juke joint, everything's gonna be alright. I see them dancing at the juke joint, clapping hands and yelling for more. It's gonna happen at the juke joint, can't wait till I get you on the floor. I'm gonna buy a brand new suit and I'll be oozing style, putting on my favorite hat, and you'll be wearing that dress that drives me wild. Jumping, jiving at the juke joint, everybody's just having fun. Baby, meet me at the juke joint, we'll dance until we see the sun. Everybody's just having fun. But baby, meet me at the juke joint, we'll dance until we see the sun.
Gonna turn on his ignition, rev the motor up and boogie with my baby. He says we're going dancing, so I'm wearing something sexy, cause I know what he likes. I got one desire, gonna start a raging fire, turn the heater up and boogie with my baby. I'm so lucky that I found him, that boy's a real McCoy. Anytime that I'm around him, I just gotta jump for joy. He doesn't have to tell me, I know how much he wants me by the look in his eye. I know what he's craving, the loving I've been saving, and tonight I'm gonna boogie with my baby. I'm a little lonely, the telephone will ring and it's my man on the line. I got one ambition, gonna turn on his ignition, rev the motor up and boogie with my baby. He says we're going dancing, so I'm wearing something sexy, cause I know what he likes. I got one desire, gonna start a raging fire, turn the heater up and boogie with my baby. I'm so lucky that I found him, that boy's a real McCoy. Anytime that I'm around him, I just gotta jump for joy. He doesn't have to tell me, I know how much he wants me by the look in his eye. I know what he's craving, the loving I've been saving, and tonight I'm gonna boogie with my baby. I just wanna boogie, boogie tonight. I just wanna boogie with my baby tonight. I just wanna boogie, boogie tonight. I wanna boogie with my baby tonight. I just wanna boogie, boogie tonight. I just wanna boogie with my baby tonight. I just wanna boogie, boogie tonight. I wanna boogie with my baby tonight.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, your hosts, Maddy and Merlin.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to probably the quickest stream to be demonetized this side of YouTube. Why? Because we have gun in the title. Woohoo! And I am here with my co-host, Merlin.
Hi, I'm Merlin.
My guests, Mr. Ripper.
Lopez.
And Lou.
Who's cow?
And Lou.
Hey, bitches.
Hey, let's see who we all have in the chat here. We have a Miss T. Good evening, my dear. How are you doing? Are you feeling any better? We have a Dade. Hello. A Pixel Refresh. Greetings, inorganic-based life form. Pixel Refresh. How are you doing? Let me see. Anybody else pop in? Oh, yes, I saw White Sith Male. So, hello. How are you doing this evening? Straight Sith Male. Let me see. And I think that's it for now. that's popped in. There'll probably be more following it. And we have a Mezzo Dragon on the Twitch side, so good evening.
Hi, Mezzo Dragon.
Oh, it's nice to know you're feeling better, Miss T.
Yay, Miss T. I'm glad you're definitely feeling better this time around.
Yeah, we
does
are.
Make me happy.
Yep, if you're wondering, one slideshow is giving you the types of weapons that they want to ban. Good evening, Florence. And the scrolling list of names is the names of all the congressmen and women who sponsored the bill, in case some of those look a little familiar to you. Good evening, Mad Metal Man.
Hey, Mad Metal. I screwed that up.
There's a lot of females on that list.
Yes, there are a lot of females on that list.
Hold on. Mad Metal. Dude, Moose Cow.
What's the safe word?
You want to get this really put in limited state, show Clarence Boddicker shooting out. No, thank you. I'm good. I monetized it before the stream started. I'm sure it'll be demonetized before we get into the bill.
Biz is here.
Yep.
Kill
Evening, Biz.
We're done.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the end of our show.
Right.
Thank you for joining us. I hope you learned a lot tonight. I know we sure did.
Right. On February 26th of this year, Congress lost their ever-loving mind and wrote up something called HR 5087. And Sir Wolfie's on the Twitch side. Hey, Sir Wolfie.
Hi, Sir Wolfie.
Otherwise known as the Assault Weapons Ban of 2018. This is the introduced version. It is still in the Judiciary Committee, so they're still looking over it. They're still talking about it and figuring out what they're going to do with it. There is no date as of yet as to when this will come to a vote, because it's still in that judiciary process. Even though all of us know that this bill is pretty much... We've looked over it. It's scary and bullshit all at the same time.
Yep.
I did it again. I forgot to switch to live chat. There we go.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, I keep on forgetting.
Yeah, I keep on forgetting to do that too. Another reason to migrate to Twitch.
I see people. Hi guys. Yeah. I see you all now.
I'm out of tobacco and this makes me angry. This makes everybody angry because, okay, here's a little quiz for the chat. And Twitch chat and YouTube chat, both. Just upon the title of this bill, can anybody in either live chat on either platform tell me which amendment to the Constitution this literally shoots a middle finger at?
I know.
Let's see if they can guess it. Yep, let's see if they can guess it. I'm sure they're smart.
Oh, come on. I got it. I know it.
We have an 8-second delay. Shush for like 10 more seconds.
Got one response on the YouTube side.
And we got one response on the Twitch side. We got a Second Amendment on the Twitch side and a Second Amendment on the YouTube side. Anybody else?
Yay, Pixel.
The 12th right, leave it to Diz. Trolling again. Okay. Hi.
Do I get to comment now?
Yes.
Or should I wait till more people chime in?
Go ahead and comment.
Alright, because everyone's half right. This is not merely a Second Amendment issue, it's also a Fourth Amendment issue. You know, the one that guarantees us the right to due process.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, show me how removing rights from 350 million people in a blanket law doesn't violate due process. Because we're a nation of individual liberty.
Mm-hmm.
And as a nation of individual liberty, you cannot take away someone's rights unless you can prove via due process, trial, court of law, all that good stuff, that they have committed a crime. Well, all these people who haven't committed a crime, they're losing their rights. That violates due process.
Now, Straight Sith also says it violates the First, as well as the Second and the Fourth. Which is interesting. Alright, so let's get to... We're going to skip the list of people that are sponsors since we got that cycling. So it says the term... Make sure everybody can see this. The term semi-automatic pistol means any repeating pistol, and I'm saying pistol on purpose, that utilizes a portion of the energy of a firing cartridge to extract the fire cartridge case and chamber the next round, and requires a separate pull of the trigger to fire each cartridge, which is a roundabout way of saying one trigger pull, one bullet.
Ooh, I like how that, that's kind of like scientific and easy.
But they can't do that. They have to do it in legalese.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this bill. Yeah.
Yes, this bill. The term semi-automatic shotgun requires separate pull of the trigger to fire each cartridge. And they also added semi-automatic assault weapons.
Wonderful.
Oh, they've added everything. And including the semi-automatic. It's a long thing to say.
Yes, it is. Semi-automatic assault weapon. Semi-automatic assault weapon. Yeah,
exactly.
You especially cannot say that.
Can we be clear and what they mean is semi-automatic rifle?
Right. Exactly.
They mean literally everything.
Right.
Yeah.
As any resemblance of the same kind of body.
Oh, yeah. Semi-automatic weapon is what I'm going to call it. I'm going to leave the assault, or I'm going to say semi-auto, whichever one, because it's easier. It says, semi-auto rifle that has the capacity to accept a detachable magazine in any one of the following. Here's that wonderfully infamous list. A pistol grip, a forward grip, a folding telescoping or detachable stock, a grenade or rocket launcher, a barrel shroud, a threaded barrel.
Who in the heck is going to have a grenade or rocket launcher? What is your problem with life?
When I go deer hunting, I like to have my rocket launcher, okay, Lou?
What, do you shove it up your butt and launch it?
It's not a grenade or rocket
comment.
launcher. It's a
no comment.
It's a long range boom disposal unit.
Boom disposal unit.
Pretty much, that's what the government's going to give you the definition to what it is. So don't worry.
Most definitely. Okay, and because of the inflammatory nature of this particular bill, I'm going to put this there. And
I'm inflamed.
Put it. Me too.
I'm inflamed.
Guns.
Once we go through this bill, keep an eye on the Discord link that is floating around. We do have a waiting room. And if you pop into the waiting room after we give you the rank to do so, you can one by one come in and let us know what you think of the bill. So we will get to that before we end the show. So the next thing is, let me see here, a semi-auto rifle that is fixed magazine with a capacity to accept more than 10 rounds, except for an attached tubular device. I love how they say tubular device. And capable of operating only with .22 caliber rim fire ammunition. Designed for functions to accelerate the rate of fire, but not convert it into a fully automatic machine gun. So basically, any mods to the weapon that makes you hello-tailed. I know.
No. See, I would understand how, maybe some modifications would need to be controlled, but to have a complete ban on every single thing related to anything defensive, then I just have to ask you, what exactly is your problem with these weapons that you need to moderate them so heavily, even though people are still going to find a way to get a handle on?
Good evening, Fuckwad. Yeah,
Votes and tyranny.
This is a knee-jerk reaction to what has been happening in the school shootings and the like. Instead of actually looking at where the system has failed that caused these shootings, they are blaming the inanimate object. It's a knee-jerk reaction.
It's a knee-jerk reaction, and who has the FBI been looking at? Every
Russian
single one of those shooters, and what have they done? Nothing. They have not checked into a single one of them, and that is their problem, not mine, and not the guns.
Right. Good evening, Fuckwad.
Guns can't check people's history, can they?
Nope.
Well, see, that's just it again. We have mechanisms in place to satisfy due process. Start using them.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
Leave me alone.
All they're doing is... Oh, sorry, Mitch. I didn't mean
No,
to
go on, Marlon. Go ahead.
I was going to say, all they do is add laws upon laws upon laws, and therefore no one can wade through them. Keep it simple. Buckwad, moose cow, man. Moose cow.
Lopez.
It says this.
No, they want to screw with me, take away my rights. Well, my rights are not going to run away from me quietly.
No.
I don't think that's going to be the case with any of us. Like, it's a matter of knowing your rights, and I'm going to be honest, a good chunk of the people my age and under me, they don't know their rights. Like, I know people in this server who don't know their rights.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, yeah. People are woefully ignorant of the law and their own rights. They are.
Miss T. Oh my God! My gun hasn't jumped out of its case again today.
Exactly, right? Semi-automatic pistol that has the capacity to accept a detachable magazine in any one of the following: a threaded barrel, a second pistol grip, a barrel shroud, a detachable magazine outside of the pistol grip, a magazine that has the capacity to accept more than 10 rounds, semi-auto shotgun has any one of the following: folding, telescoping, or detachable stock, a pistol grip, a fixed magazine with the capacity to accept more than 5 rounds, the ability to accept a detachable magazine, a forward grip, and here's the thing we keep laughing at, a grenade or rocket launcher.
I have to point something out that I find amusing. They go through the effort to, they've done it twice now.
Yeah.
To specify a threaded barrel.
Yeah.
Why aren't they specifying a floating barrel?
I is dumb stupid.
Well, I have a pistol that has a floating barrel. That means that it does not, the barrel does not thread into the fuselage, the body of the weapon. Okay, the barrel doesn't thread in. It's installed so that it floats. I mean, it's not like floating on water, but it's a loose fit, let's say. But once the whole thing is assembled, everything is in place.
Yeah.
You know, it makes it easier to pull apart and clean and whatnot. And there are probably other reasons for it too. I'm not Mr. Firearms like Ronan is. Ronan could probably explain this better. I just want to know why they don't specify that kind of a barrel. Why do they specify a threaded barrel?
Yeah.
It's like they don't know what they're talking about.
Mystery. So pretty much anything that goes bam.
Pretty much. Because they're going after the scary looking guns.
No, that's not it.
That's not.
These are scary and looking, and yeah.
I mean, they are, but that's not their goal.
No, this is. I think
their
this
goal,
might be.
Their goal is to have absolute control.
Yes, so this would be like a part 1 or a part 2 action.
Yeah.
Push this through, and then we'll get the rest of the guns later.
Yeah. Any shotgun with a revolving cylinder, all the following rifles, all the following pistols and shotguns, all belt-fed semi-auto firearms, including the TNW M2HB or FN M2495, any combination of parts, and the frame or receiver of a rifle or shotgun, large capacity ammunition feeding device, and anything that is more than 10 rounds of ammunition and does not include an attached tubular device designed to accept or capable of operating only with .22 caliber rimfire ammunition. In other words, they're trying to keep them down to .22 caliber bullets. Am I understanding that correctly?
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like they don't want anyone to have anything larger than a .22, and even then, only if it's rimfire versus centerfire.
Okay, now
AMC.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but a .22 caliber bullet can often be deadlier than a high-powered weapon, depending on the weapon it's put in, because it tends to bounce around inside the body.
That's one thing, yes.
Okay.
That kind of thing has been known to happen.
Agreed.
So
many people think that the .22 will simply bounce off the skull.
So let
and
me
in
put
some
it this.
cases it does.
Let me put it this way. When these people wrote this bill, they basically took a full tablespoon dose of stupid, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Like right there in one of those NyQuil cups too.
Right. Yeah. Good
But
evening, MC.
It probably didn't have the pleasant undertones of a nice shot knife.
Fuck what, I'll make a .22 caliber rimfire Gatling gun.
And like My senator, my representative, is the one that hosted this bill, Mr. Cicilline, who I've been trying to vote out of office for the last 10 years.
Yeah. For those of you just tuning in, we've got one slideshow showing the different types, because it was showing a picture of every single gun they want banned would have taken a lot longer than this show usually runs. And in the black box with the yellow lettering are all the congressmen and women who sponsored the bill. So please, if you want to pay particular attention to that, that's what that box is there for. It's listing all the politicians that are behind the bill. Good evening, Mad Dodge Productions. We are talking about the assault weapons ban bill.
That we are. But
have fun drinking your cup of bleach in the meantime.
I got my bleach right next to me, by the way. Thank you, Lou.
Yeah. But you needed the reminder.
yeah, I do need a reminder. Me being old and all. But yeah, Mr. Cicilline is one I've been trying. He's in my district, and all the senators and representatives of New England, 100% across the board, are trying to push this thing, as well as California.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And they think we're stupid.
Oh yeah.
And for the most part, from if you don't live like in a suburban area, you live like in a city. Yeah, you're pretty much stupid if you live in the city for the most part.
Well, yeah, because nobody... Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I live in a city area. I live in 2 city areas. That's the most influence of my state, is we have 2 big cities, the capital city and the biggest city in our state. Those are the 2 that get the most votes. Those are the 2 that end up voting the most. So we're... Thank the Lord that we have all the tiny, like, towns that we do, because that makes us a red state instead of a blue. Like places like Chicago, that's the entire reason Illinois is a blue state, because of Chicago.
By the way, all the representatives in Chicago went for this bill as well. They helped sponsor it.
Oh my God,
they did.
They
got a reputation to maintain.
Right. Let's keep the guns out of the one city with so many gun laws that everybody's killing each other with illegal weapons, because that always works.
Oh yeah. Who for the last couple of years have been the #1 city of death.
The murder capital, I believe, is that one wonderful little title they like to title it.
Literally, there's nothing keeping people from hurting one another. You cannot do anything in any regulation to do that. That's the ultimate argument that people seem to ignore, like they're in English composition or something and trying to argue a point that is still valid. People will do illegal shit.
Yeah. If you are having a trouble seeing the scrolling list, Miss T, in the description below is a link that also leads to the list of the sponsors for this bill.
And Fuckwad, yes, all 100% Democrat support. Miss T, yes, one of your representatives did vote for this bill or sponsor this bill.
Yep. The term barrel shroud means a shroud that is attached to or partially or completely encircles the barrel of a firearm, so that the shroud protects the user of the firearm from heat generated by the barrel, and does not include a slide that partially or completely encloses the barrel, or an extension of the stock along the bottom of the barrel.
It's just, yeah.
Every time they say shroud, I think of Catholic people.
Yeah.
Hey, Merlin.
Oh boy.
Why do you think it is that they have more focus on banning the center fire versus the rim fire?
Well, because that, you're gonna make me think, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Because higher caliber, right?
No, you can get a center fire or rim fire in any caliber you want, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's because the center fire has a greater rate of
greater rate of fire.
It's actually working.
Yeah.
A rim fire is, if I'm not mistaken, more prone to not firing after you pull the trigger.
I see what you're saying.
Good evening, Batman. Yeah. Even he said, is center fire more accurate?
It's not about accuracy. It's about
reliability.
Reliability. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because center fire is more
often than a rim fire.
Yeah. Now they jogged my brain cell. My brain cell says thank you.
That's my theory, anyway.
Yeah.
And Dane, yes, every time she says rim fire, I think the same thing. Porno.
Yeah.
Detachable magazine means an ammunition feeding device that can be removed. Fix magazine means an ammunition feeding device that is permanently fixed to the firearm. Folding. Telescoping or detachable stock means a stock that folds, telescopes, detaches, or otherwise operates to reduce the length, because we like to repeat ourselves because we know you don't understand English. The length, size, or any other dimension or otherwise enhances the concealability of a firearm. Excuse me, the telescoping thing, when you have it all the way out, does not conceal the weapon.
Actually, they got something wrong here. Item number 42.
The forward grip means grip located forward of the trigger that functions as a pistol grip.
Yes, if it functioned as a pistol grip, it would come equipped with a trigger. It doesn't. It's for stabilizing.
Ah.
It's to help combat the recoil.
Our poor, oh wow, are you telling me that our poor representatives who put this together in a dark room got it wrong?
Yes. I'm telling you that you should never trust anyone who is writing a bill who is not an expert in that area.
Yeah.
It shows. Throughout this whole bill, it shows. I think I read this bill several times as I was putting it together for the show, and I just had to shake my head.
Yeah.
A lot, to the point where my eyes were just bouncing around.
Yeah,
Well, it's bad.
Somebody typed nuke in the. That was me on accident.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I was like saying, oh, English.
Nuke. Yeah. Okay, let me see here. Fixed magazine with the capacity to accept more than 10 rounds, except for an attached tubular device designed to accept and capable of operating with only 20. There's that 22 caliber rimfire ammunition again.
Yep.
C, designed for functions to accelerate the rate of fire, but not convert the semi-auto into a fully auto machine gun. A semi-auto pistol, and any of the following: threaded barrel, second pistol grip, a barrel shroud, and then detachable magazine outside of the pistol grip. Let me see, the high capacity magazine. Why don't they just say high capacity magazine?
Oh, just wait, Maddie. Yeah, they'll get to it.
Well, because Diz is telling me that rimfire ammo is limited to smaller caliber, since the cartridge walls need to be thin enough to be able to be crushed by the firing pin and ignite the primer.
Okay.
And then Batman says you're absolutely correct. Only somebody who knows they're about to or is being advised by experts should write bills on complex subjects.
Yeah.
Yep.
Instead of going to Hollywood and asking an actor who played a part once.
No.
Well, you know,
This tends to be .22 or .17 caliber.
Yeah, it's the same thing as when it comes to developing and putting in place the rules to be a plumber.
Yeah.
You don't hire a painter to do it.
Mad Dodge is like, wait, they want to ban 22s? I believe you're understanding it incorrectly. I think the way we're understanding it is they want to limit the ammunition to 22 caliber or smaller.
Right.
Well, yeah, but they also
which we're arguing might make it worse.
They want to limit it to 22 caliber rimfire or smaller.
Mm-hmm. High capacity magazine. I twitch. Sorry, Miss T. I'm the stupid person on the panel tonight because I am Gundam.
Oh, damn it! I
don't mean the anime. I am Gundam.
And how do you define high capacity?
I was going to claim that title. Damn it!
Batman said something about Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, except that that celebrity is Clint Eastwood. Anyway, he's talking about my last comment about them bringing Hollywood actors to.
Except if that celebrity is Clint Eastwood, Merlin.
Well, let me tell you one thing about Clint Eastwood.
Eastwood is awesome.
Check this out by watching all of his, the movies where he's firing a weapon. He is that rare actor who, when he fires a gun and it goes off, he does not blink.
Yep.
And it's interesting. For one thing, if someone like that is shooting at you, that's kind of creepy. If you have time to notice, I mean.
Great actor, though.
I'm gonna assume that person knows what they're doing, though.
Okay, I am retracting my previous statement of high capacity magazine because it's making people spurg out in the live chat on YouTube.
That's great. I'm watching it. Yeah.
Maddie, do not censor yourself for the public, okay? I swear I'm gonna come down there and slap you.
The public doesn't know what they're talking about. But My politics does.
Wait! Somebody said like high velocity magazine or some shit. I'm gonna go cry in the corner. Do you want me to put you in timeout?
No.
No one puts baby in the corner.
Hey, Hellbound. No,
I'll
you're
put a
right on
baby
time.
in the
We're still
corner in a
discussing
second.
it. Let's see.
Hellbound, you're good, man. Welcome.
Let me see. Semi-auto shotgun, folding, telescoping, or detachable stock pistol grip. Fixed magazine with a capacity to accept more than 5 rounds. The ability to accept a detachable magazine, a forward grip, a grenade or rocket launcher, a revolving cylinder. Right. See, this is what gets me, is the fact that okay, first of all, if you're going to limit it, and everybody's going to correct me if I'm wrong, I know, I'm expecting it. If you're going to limit it to 22 caliber weapons, wouldn't that render most shotguns ineffective since those are higher caliber weapons?
Pretty much.
Yeah, but shotguns are different than, they're just different.
Not the same thing, man.
They're not. For one thing, your standard shotgun does not have a rifled barrel.
Nope.
Booty.
Because it doesn't need it. It's basically a slug chucker.
Okay.
I just want to say H, I, and J, those contain lists of what they wanted to ban.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it's like AKs, I can't remember now, Berettas,
A whole slew.
It was a whole slew.
Basically, they're doing the Hollywood ban.
Yeah.
They're banning everything that's been popularized by movies.
Right. Let's see.
And basically anything that looks black and scary, they're trying to get rid of.
Yeah, and anything that can convert something to a full automatic weapon. And it's like some people have, when we've had this discussion before on Mitch's channel for American Reality, or even on our channel doing other stuff, you know, as far as the AR is concerned, all you have to do is like hook it to your fucking belt loop and it's fully auto. You don't need a bump stock. You don't need any other thing, because I guess the trigger is so sensitive.
And AR's not really a good rifle too, from what I hear from the studies and everything else. But
well,
yeah, go ahead.
Go on. Well, I was going to say my father was one of the soldiers who tested the original M16.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
By the way, hold on, real quick. The original M16A1 was developed by a toy company. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
It was Mattel. Mattel took over the contract for the M16A1, and when I used it in the military, first-hand experience, it was a piece of crap. You could get a piece of dust in there, it would break down.
Well, yeah, it jammed all the time. It would jam for any reason. You know, if your mother-in-law has an itch on her ass, that thing would jam.
Yeah, it was horrible. This is what our men used in Vietnam.
Yep.
So, and they had to deal with that.
And you know, that's why it has that forward assist on it these days, because you know, my father, when he tested, he's like he wrote no. He said no. This is garbage.
Yeah.
And I was privileged enough to shoot both at the same day, the 16A1 and the A2. What a world of difference.
Oh yeah.
The A2 purred like a kitten. The A1 was like an elephant that needed to take a shit. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah. Let's see. Belt-fed semi-auto firearms, including the aforementioned ones that we did already. Good evening, communists in space. Any combination of parts from which A through K can be assembled to frame a receiver of a rifle or shotgun, large capacity ammunition feeding device, more than 10 rounds of ammunition per magazine, yada 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 yada. Because skip the record and here we go. Does not include an attached tubular device designed to accept and capable of operating only with 22 caliber rimfire ammunition. So there it is.
Well, if you're, sorry. Shoot. My understanding though is like if you're having one of these and you have a gun, you have the ammo and stuff. What's the point of a safe person really? What's the point of like banning an ammo if somebody's going to obtain it illegally? Because a safe gun owner, to my knowledge, would not be having that ammo in the gun if it isn't in use.
Well, Pixel Refresh says, what is a, quote, tubular device, unquote?
Well,
I
go for
was
it.
gonna say,
Be a
first of all,
site,
Lou,
it
you're
could
right. You're right. All law enforcement officers, every military personnel, the first thing they learn to do is to discharge, make sure there's no rounds in the chamber when you turn it in, or if you're cleaning your weapon or whatever.
Yeah, that, and then I'm looking at these, and it's like the first one is to keep it pointed in a safe direction, so normally like at the ground where nothing is lying.
It's always live.
Like that.
If you're on a gun range or something like that, you consider the weapon is live with a bullet in the round at all times.
Even if the slide is locked back.
Yep.
It's always live.
Like to my understanding, it's still like there are multiple things you need to do before the gun actually will shoot.
Ah, Mad Metal Man. So they are wanting to reinstitute the Clinton-era ban with some new phrasing.
Yep.
Basically, yes.
And Dade, you're my man. I love you, man.
It's too
tubular. That's my wife.
Yeah, the bill won't go anywhere. We're gonna discuss. Oh, we're gonna discuss the nifty little lines down at the bottom in a minute.
Oh, anyway, did anyone explain in the chat what the tubular?
No, they're still going round and round about it.
Okay.
The tubular device is essentially a built-in magazine. You'll see it on like a lever-action rifle for one. You'll also see it in shotguns. It's the tube that where the ammunition is stored in a rifle.
Ah, okay.
It's usually just under the barrel.
They're going through the shroud again. They're going through the telescoping, detachable stock modifications for all this other bullshit.
Yeah.
And here are, now they do the exceptions. The exceptions is qualified law enforcement officer, meaning an employee of a governmental agency, you know, who enforces the law and detains somebody who violated the law.
Yes, because so many
because they're reliable.
Right.
Yeah, I was about to say, because they're totally reliable for not checking into these people who probably also have the exact same weapons.
Right.
Because they bought them off the black market, and you're totally going to win that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid.
And also, with this bill, it for the first time defines what it means to be a campus law enforcement person.
Yeah,
thingy.
because they included it in the exemption.
Yep.
Did they include campus? What?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
A private college or anything like that uses campus police as part of it can be used as law enforcement official.
Yes.
The most you give those dumbasses is a taser. That's it.
I want to go that far, Lou.
Neither would I.
I know. I'm saying that's the most you give them. The least you give them is a little patty whip.
See, here I got to go back to this thing again that I've been saying for the past few weeks in the various places I've been speaking.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need laws like this. We need competency testing. One, for legislators, obviously, because look at this nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
But we also need competency testing for cops. We need competency testing in our schools. I replied to a thing on Facebook on one of the news pages there. And I had said there that I miss the days when our educational and law enforcement agencies, because schools are a state agency, I miss the days when those things were operated and staffed by professionals. Because they're not any longer. If you have an FBI that could be convinced to go after a political opponent, that's not a professional agency.
Yeah.
Right.
It ceases to be professional. When you have schools that are not interested in teaching children how to think, but more interested in teaching children what to think, that's not a professional agency any longer.
Yeah.
I want these agencies to start behaving professionally and just basically doing their damn jobs. Now, when you get into legislators especially, you especially need competency testing.
Mm-hmm.
Because almost every law written, at the very least, will fall into a gray area as it pertains to the Bill of Rights. It's because they're too lazy to try to work their way around it. They're more interested in looking like they're doing something. This thing probably won't pass, but there's going to be a bunch of people saying, well, we tried to do something, but those bad guys wouldn't let us.
Exactly. Yeah. Me and Maddie actually talked about that. And also, to piggyback off you, Mitch, back to the Parkland shooting. It was a total system failure, not the
Yes.
weapons. It was a total system failure from the federal down to the local, down to the school administration.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
no
want-
one
you
is
want to
talking
get
about
angrier?
that.
You know what else
Go
no
ahead.
one's talking about? Everyone's talking. I mean, not everyone, obviously, but the likes of us will talk about
Oh yeah.
how it was a complete system failure,
Yep.
and we all recognize that.
Mhm.
But even some of us don't really stop and think, hey, you know what? The system didn't just fail those kids that got killed, those kids that got wounded. They didn't just fail all those students. They didn't just fail the people. They failed the perpetrator, too.
Yeah, they did.
There were plenty of opportunities there to get that kid the help he needed
That's
before
right.
anything happened. The signs were there. Everyone saw them.
Yeah.
Nobody cared.
What was it? 18 times the police went over the house, and
I think
was it
it's
30?
actually in excess of 40.
Including I forget who else. The mental people went over there as well and stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, the whole system failed top to bottom. But yet, no, let's use these students as a pawn to push our initiative. Thus, a bill like this.
Yep.
And yes, Mitch, they are going to use this against the incumbent Republicans this fall to show.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
we tried to put something forward, and they didn't do anything. They rejected it.
Yeah. Wikipedia has joined us. Good evening, Wiki.
Hi,
Hey,
hi,
Wiki.
Wiki.
Hey, Fuckwad. Hey, everyone. I am watching the chat. It's just I'm
We're fired
hands
up.
full with something else. We'll leave that to your imagination.
That's good.
What
I
you
got
see on
that.
the screen now is the beginning of the part of the bill where they want to get rid of the grandfather clause.
Oh yeah.
And,
Oh yes.
and since my co-host did the research on this, can you explain to everybody what the grandfather clause is?
Oh dear.
Basically, it's not just weapons, by the way. A grandfather clause is if you have something before a bill was made to regulate something, from before the bill date, your grandfather clause in so that the bill doesn't affect you. So in this case, if you have a weapon, and let's say you want to pass it down to your kid, then there's a grandfather clause in there that says that you could pass that weapon down. It can stay in the family, stuff like that. What this bill is trying to stop all that. So yeah, if you're yes, as Wiki puts it, grandfather killers. Yes, they are.
Well,
Yep.
for me, it's basically the way I define grandfather clause is like sometimes people who use the term grandfathering in something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
It will be basically passed down. It's what that means.
Right.
Well, I'll give you a good example. if you
Regardless
like.
of the
Let's assume that they. I'm
Dave,
sorry to
you're
interrupt
awesome
you.
tonight.
Dade, well, kiss my ass, man. Megatron was made in 1984, so fuck off.
Here's a good
Nice
example of how
reference.
a grandfather clause would work. Let's say that the whole nation did go crazy and decided to make the non-gender specific bathroom a thing. And I'm actually kind of fine with that because that's, that way you don't have to put 72 labels on a door.
Right?
And I'm actually fine with that, but only to a point. Because the way I would write that is, businesses with existing facilities would be grandfathered in. In short, they wouldn't have to change anything.
Right.
But anything new, it would just have to be a bathroom where anyone can go in and use it.
The
Batman.
Batman.
But I would also add a thing to that rule. But these would be single-person bathrooms. They wouldn't be bathrooms that can accommodate 3 or more people at one time.
Right. But Batman puts it nicely. But a weapon is just an inert object, it's a piece of property. Why shouldn't it be passed on? Exactly. That's the whole
Ooh,
point
hey.
with this.
Look at that. Let me go look at something real quick. Pray continue.
Okay.
Oh,
Batman
wow.
gave me a thought.
Mitch is onto something.
Yeah. I said, imagine a world where the bathroom sign is larger than the door.
I can imagine it.
Somebody gave Mitch a thought. Go get the tranquilizer.
Well, so
But
he
yeah,
also
no,
said,
see.
Batman also said earlier, one of the jobs a teacher is supposed to perform is to monitor the emotional state of the kids in their charge. If they do this, they catch kids before they snap.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's why it's so hard to be a teacher. Because like, just working with kids for me sometimes, like when I do volunteering, it's like, it's young kids, but you still see these patterns where you're just like, that's a little bit worrisome.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt again, but I'm finding my thoughts here.
Go on.
So Batman gave me the idea, yeah, hey, this violates property rights things too, and that is also under the Fourth Amendment.
Oh,
It's
there you go.
coupled with the due process thing, which is also part of the Sixth Amendment. So that's another one it violates. It also violates the Eighth Amendment, which reads, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. It is cruel and unusual to punish me for a crime I did not commit.
Yeah. That is
So this
true.
thing
Like
just
the-
goes all the way down the ladder, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It does.
it hits almost every one of them.
And that's why I said. That's why I said when you pass down. Let's say I'm a father and I want to pass down, my rifle down to my son. With this bill, I'll be breaking the law now.
This is literally, literally, this is the most unconstitutional thing you could do.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Dates says it violates civil asset forfeiture.
Yep.
No, it actually reinforces civil asset
Yeah, it
forfeiture.
does.
Civil asset forfeiture is another violation of the amendments that I've mentioned.
Yep. Oh, let me see here.
Oh, mad metal.
Yeah. And they're saying that it shall be unlawful for a person to import, sell, manufacture, transfer, or possess, in or affecting interstate foreign commerce, a semi-auto weapon, a large-capacity ammunition feeding device, and shall not apply to the possession, sale, or transfer of any semi-auto weapon lawfully possessed under federal law on the date of enactment of the assault weapons ban of 2018. Shall not apply to any firearm that is manually operated by bolt, pump lever, or slide action, has been rendered permanently inoperable, or is defined in 921 of this title. So all the ones that are defined they're like, okay, well, they're okay. But the problem is they go to list 20 million in these motherfuckers.
Yeah. Like, for example, this thing, all this right here, it was doubly written just to repeat itself with firearm and ammunition. And Wiki says, the Pony Express lasted 1 year, became obsolete when it was replaced by the Telegraph. You couldn't find any ponies that could run at 299,792,458 meters a second.
Yeah.
And Maddie, Merlin, Rich, Hellbound brought up a point that I'm gonna be honest. I hear a lot, and I sometimes bring this up myself. Interpretation. The Constitution can be interpreted anyway by anyone, especially the judicial branch of the government.
No, it can't.
That's the problem, though, is like people.
The Bill of Rights. I'm sorry. Go on, Lou.
Well, yeah, I think that's the problem. Is that people say, "Oh, it's all by interpretation. It's all supposed to be." I think people need to agree on what it was meant to be, and they need to agree on how to interpret it, so then we can properly enforce it.
Well, see, the
If
problem
they want
here...
to, look, this is
everybody. The problem is everybody who wrote it is dead, so they can't tell us how it was meant to be.
To me, it's the Constitution. To me, falls along a little theory that I created a long time ago. It's called the trick shooters theory, which means you practice all the hard shots all your life. Getting a straight shot on a billiard table to get the ball to go into the pocket becomes a difficult ordeal. And in this case, how that theory fits into this is people are so used to seeing legalese, doublespeak, and things trying to close loopholes that when they look at the Constitution that was simply written, they're trying to make it difficult to understand.
There's that, but if they get to go by that logic, that because it's, especially the Bill of Rights, it's pretty clear. I mean, it was written with the intent that anyone can understand it.
Right.
So, yes, it is pretty clear, but by their idea of it being open to interpretation, suppose I just hop on a woman someday and fuck her.
Nice.
And she says no, but hey, I didn't interpret that no as a no. Suddenly it's open for interpretation. How far are they willing to take that?
Yeah.
With
You can
this,
take it multiple ways, I think, is what we're getting at, Hellbound.
right. And the bill is simple, and people need to let go of all this complex bullshit. What the Constitution says, it says. What the Bill of Rights says, there's no gimmick or anything else like that. If it says something, right to protect arms, guess what? You have a right to protect arms.
Yep.
Instead of trying to pollute everything.
Mm-hmm.
And turn it into SJW. And ew.
SJW, communism, anarchist shit.
Yep.
Yes.
And here's
Good
the
job.
Dade puts in the chat, well, when someone says no, it means no. Well, yeah, when someone says shall not be infringed, it means no.
Right.
I literally, okay, Dade, you're gonna laugh at this. I literally had something last year or the year before it was whenever Trump had started out. And I had this people going, like, marching through the university, through my city. And there was a case where the girls were marching through this one point, and there was a fraternity that when the girls were chanting no means no, one of the boys decided to be a smartass and say no means yes.
Mitch, aren't they
I got
also
dumbasses in my state.
They're everywhere, Lou. They're like cockroaches.
Yes, they are. Every single one of them.
Oh yeah, and this is the part of the bill that actually includes campus security as being an exemption.
Yep, as being a law enforcement officer, qualified as. So that would give them the right to carry a weapon if the university says so.
Yep.
So, but yeah, we have a problem with the politicians don't even understand the Constitution.
No.
That's the biggest
They
problem.
understand it. Let's not fool ourselves. They understand it. They want us to not understand it. That's why it's not properly taught in the schools anymore. That's why the civics program
Bring civics back.
has been
I
almost
think
entirely obliterated.
Yeah.
literally, I remember having a friend that just walked out of civics one day and just said, I don't like this class.
Yeah, it was mandatory for me growing up. 12 weeks out of my
Same
school year
here.
had to be civics.
Yep.
For me, it wasn't even that. It was like I want to say it was a full. It wasn't even that. Mine, it was like 9 weeks. Because I just went in there and I was just like, shit, this is easy. It's just a matter of notes and knowing, like, this is where this goes. This is where this is supposed to be. It's not that hard to learn. It's something anybody can learn at any point, and how people can neglect it, I don't know, because my teacher made it super easy to read, and that was probably one of my favorite teachers in high school, too.
I like Miss T's idea, actually. The best thing we could do for the millennials is send them to North Korea on a mission trip. My oldest went, came back sane.
See, I was going to comment on that too.
Yeah.
Because I kind of agree with that, but I can think of a way to do it with fewer expenditures financially.
Yeah. Send them to Cuba.
No.
Oh.
No, you don't even have to
Kids
send them out of the
have to do
country.
civics. Brilliant idea.
All you have to do is send them to an Indian reservation, because the government has been running that shit for a very long time, and look where those are.
Yeah.
That's third world America, the way the government has the Indian reservations locked into poverty and drug abuse and alcohol abuse.
And not to mention that the EPA screws them every chance they get.
Yep.
Yeah. You could almost say it's a criminal conspiracy.
You said the C word. Oh, I'm gonna tell.
Oh, hey, what do you call someone who violates another American's rights under color of authority?
You said color, that's racist.
They're criminals.
Tyrant.
Yes, to both.
Tyranny.
They're criminals and they're tyrants.
And not Mitch. You're Mitch.
Yes, I have to address. I was going to mention this.
Please do, because he keeps on going and he won't stop.
I can't blame him. It's a good point. How many school shootings occur in military academies where firearms are accessible?
Mm-hmm.
I bet there are. I bet there are a few. Honestly, because insanity knows no bounds. But I bet there are fewer, because those places are not just built on firearms; they're also built on a kind of discipline that you don't get in the public schools.
And let me really quick, when it comes to gun control and all that stuff, look at the Fort Hood shooting. This guy went on a military post where the primary object that you learn is to be a rifleman. So that means you know how to fire a weapon. But thanks to Bill Clinton, that is no longer allowed. You're no longer, because they didn't trust us having a weapon on our side, especially as military police.
Yeah.
To have our weapon at all times. But Bill Clinton says he couldn't trust us. And so you had this madman that comes onto this post, shoots up our American people, our soldiers, our veterans, and stuff like that, easily, because no one was allowed to have a weapon. Instead, they had to wait for the military police, which took several minutes before they got there. And the situation would have been over if the military were armed, easily. It would have ended, just like that.
Yeah.
And just like with the Parkland shooting, that deputy, if he had balls and went there and dressed the killer and killed him, it could have saved lives.
Yep.
And it has. But the media doesn't report on that, how, you know, somebody tried to go in here in this place of business and somebody tried to shoot up, but there's someone else that had a weapon, shot him dead. No lives lost except for the bad guy.
Yeah. And again, this is the reiteration of the them revoking the grandfather clause for people that already own the weapons that are going to be on the banned list.
Oh, Monica Lewinsky was better looking than Hillary. Yes, any day of the week.
Well,
Oh yeah, and I was about to say, what party was Bill Clinton a part of?
Oh, I know.
Presidency?
I know.
Yeah.
Democrat.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yay!
Yep.
And what does he have in common with all of the people supporting them?
He's an SJW and stupid, and he's a criminal.
Not
He
what
lets
I
Hillary
meant.
walk on him.
They're all, to my knowledge, a good chunk of them are Democrats, if not all.
Well, yeah, but see, for me, this is not a. This isn't a political party issue for me.
It's a knee-jerk thing.
Yes,
It's a knee-jerk thing, but that's the
this is-
common trend I see between them, Mitch. That's what I'm trying to say.
yeah, there
I know
is a
it's not
trend.
party issue.
There is a trend, but there are plenty of Democrats too who will not stand for something like this.
Guys,
Yeah.
real quick, if you look on the screen, what I have out in bold, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to destroy trying to ban all that.
Hellbound said, wasn't the Ford shooter in the military or boot camp?
Yes, he was. He was part of the military at the time. I forget what it was. I think it was like a lawyer or a psychologist or something like that. I forget.
That's ironic.
It,
Yeah, I know.
it is.
Some sort of admin. I don't know. I really don't care because to me, he's dead to me already.
Yep,
He's a bureaucrat.
Yeah, this redefines what a grandfather clause is and the fact that it's going to be revoked for this particular bill.
Yep.
Yep. And then we're going to go on down to, and I am going to, there it is, because I'm going to put this here.
Okay.
For everybody that wants to get triggered, those are the last lines of the bill. If any provision of this act, an amendment made by this act, or the application of such provision or amendment to any person or circumstance is held to be unconstitutional, the remainder of this act, the amendments made by this act, and the application of such provision or amendment to any person or circumstance shall not be affected thereby. In other words, they're trying to make it ironclad,
Right.
and so it cannot be revoked or repealed. Rather.
So basically, they're trying to shield themselves from something they know is going to backfire.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
by the way, this is also unconstitutional right here with the statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is.
Because what I'm hearing is basically, if we employ this and this doesn't work, you can't blame us.
That's pretty much
That's
what
what I'm
saying.
hearing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Culpable deniability is basically what it is.
Yeah.
And any judge worth their robes and their gavel will take one look at this thing and declare it unconstitutional in its entirety.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
If they don't, I'm going to be super disappointed in every single judge.
And this is how the progressives think right here. They think they're above the Constitution, Obama, and above the Bill of Rights, Obama. Look at how Obama did things. He hated the Constitution because it says it didn't show what the government could do. Instead, it showed all these negatives that the government can't do. And he was pissed with that. He wanted the positives.
That's the entire point. We don't want the government to be part of every single thing that we do in this country. And look what it's become.
Yep.
Literally every single part of the country these days just seems to be influenced by the government. That's all I see on the news these days.
Yeah, and that's what they're pushing.
There's really only one thing I see the government do that they do well, fairly well, but I bet it could still be done for less money, and that's maintaining the interstate.
Hold on real quick. Hellbound, he says, I'm surprised they haven't gone after Nerf guns or water guns yet.
They have.
Walmart has already pulled all things that resemble a weapon off the shelves. So that's the water guns, Nerf, airsoft, and all that stuff pulled off the shelves, and I think it is regulated by the government as well.
Why do you think most of those toy guns are in so many different colors now?
Yeah.
And they also have to have how many inches at the end of the barrel? That has to be orange.
At least 2.
So.
At least 2. And for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, a long, long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, a 14-year-old boy had a toy gun that he aimed at a cop. And the cop, not knowing it was a toy gun because the toy replica looked an awful lot like a 9mm weapon, shot the 14-year-old boy. It was shortly after that regulations were made that any toy gun needed to have safety colors on it, henceforth a bright orange rim around the trigger, as well as the end of the barrel. This also became a little more strict and redefined to say that any toy gun on the market had to be in loud safety or day-glow colors, such as fluorescent green with orange tiger stripes, and so on and so forth, to delineate the toy gun from an actual weapon.
Miss C, you're right. Lou, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yep.
What does Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, what did they have in common?
They all had... Two of them I know for sure. Mussolini was the most old type of fascist. Hitler was more the neo-fascist. And then Stalin was... Well, basically they're all dictators.
That's right. And as a dictator, the very first thing they did was to ban weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the thing for me is I literally did an entire research project on Mussolini. There is...
Dade.
They had me do that for one of my classes. They had us research dictators.
Yeah.
And Dade, yes, they're all fans of Obama.
No, Hellbound, it's not Tanir Rice.
Oh my gosh.
That was a goofy situation too, though, to be honest, but I don't want to get into the particulars there.
Yeah.
It's a little off topic.
But yeah, the first thing a dictator does is ban weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the one side has weapons and you don't, guess who wins?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that brings me to this thing that I find myself saying more and more often these days. Every office in this country, from the lowest of the low to the highest of the high, has a little provision in the oath to protect and defend the United States Constitution against all threats, foreign and domestic.
Yes.
Domestic means in this country. To my understanding, that is what domestic means.
Yeah, domestic means homegrown, basically.
Right.
Yes.
So when you have a body of legislators who are trying to circumvent the Constitution with a bill like this, what does that make them? I mean, I think that makes them that domestic threat.
Mm-hmm.
I would even go further and say they're domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
Well, I can back that up. Because look at how this happened. Okay, we had the shooting in Florida, and then, a bunch of little marches, a bunch of kids put on display, and then this bill. Well, this bill is a political document. It's a political act.
Uh-huh.
The whole thing that those kids did was a political act.
Yep.
Right.
Which
and those kids are just being suckered.
That establishes the political motivation.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, I just look at the. For me, it was just like looking at those kids and seeing myself like, what if somebody took advantage of me and my mindset when I was that age? Because I did not properly learn. Huh?
By the way,
it does get better.
Hunley, real quick, says right. Hello Kitty M16s for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, it's like this. Terrorism is the use of violence to achieve a political end.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we've gone through and we've determined what the political end is here, and they're trying to achieve this political end by the use of an act of violence as a justification.
Yeah, and
that's the textbook definition of terrorism.
Yeah.
Right.
The textbook definition makes no commentary on who commits the violent act.
The domestic clarifies that it is
when you use someone else's violent act to achieve your own political end, you could argue that is an act of terrorism.
And in that case, you would have like half of our freaking representatives basically be terrorists.
Hello,
Yes.
G. Bronner. Yeah.
Why do you think there's so many
That's the
militias
stuff.
in our country?
Oh, yeah. Well-armed militia.
Wait, we still have those?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, see, this shows how much I don't know, because people at my schools literally like the first and last things I learned was civics and then psychology. I had the same teacher for both those classes. That's the only teacher that really taught me anything and taught me how to think.
Every state has a state militia,
Eh.
It's ridiculous.
even though they're called terrorism according to the government. But that's another story. So.
Well, Hellbound's posting some more stuff.
Well, yeah.
I guess apparently I got something right for Wiki. Yay! Thank you, Wiki.
Unfortunately, our militias have been driven underground in a way, but
Yes,
that's
they
kind
have.
of their own fault.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, for one thing, there's that public persona
Yeah.
that public image that people have, that public perception. That's the word I'm looking for. That people have of militia members, which is almost entirely wrong.
Yeah.
But also, the militias don't do much to make themselves more socially acceptable. I never hear about a militia doing like a canned food drive
Yeah.
or a Toys for Tots kind of thing. And maybe they should.
Yeah, I think they should reach out to the community and let them know that we're not the enemy here. We're here to protect the case
Yep.
tyranny does come to an end.
And G. Bronner comes in with, what about the gun running by the FBI and CIA, aka Fast and Furious? Yet we are supposed to trust them.
Exactly.
Yep, exactly.
And
Eric Holder. Yep.
I'm gonna put this Discord link back in there again, because we are going to open up the waiting room here in the Discord for anybody that wants to come in and give us their 2 cents on this bill.
Yay!
Well,
Should we have
there's
some
one
gravel?
person in there already, so yeah, you guys are totally welcome. Don't
Drag
even.
him on up, and
What do we got?
Yes, Batman.
he's got to undeafen and mute, but we do have a Wolfie in the chat.
Ah,
Whoopee!
woof.
Yep, he's got to undeafen and unmute himself now that he's been dragged up here. There you go,
Hello.
Wolfie. So what do you think about this bill?
I think it's rather retarded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
something all right.
yes.
And I'll let you know. That out of the four representatives that are out of the 5 representatives that are from Kentucky, that 4 of them are gun owners.
What?
Out of the 5 representatives that are from Kentucky, the one person that signed it is Bowling Green. That's a college town.
Oh,
Yep.
God.
Yeah, Bowling Green. Yep.
Yeah, and the other 4 representatives are Republicans, and they are all gun owners.
So the one person, so
only Democrat.
all of them are for this bill, or just one of them?
No, just
No,
one of
just
them.
No.
just the
Just
Democrats
one of them
supported
is
this
for
bill.
just the
Just the
the one
college town
Democrat.
Just the
Just
one.
Yeah,
the
one
college
Bowling
town.
Green.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well
Yeah,
played,
that's
Wiki.
what I was
Well
having
played.
trouble understanding. Sorry.
That's
Yeah,
really
I'm
good
not.
clip,
I'm
by the way.
not seeing anybody from my state. Like, I'm not seeing the main one from our state, Fort and Mary.
We've
Which
got.
for once, I'm thinking to myself, thank the Lord, he's not on this one.
No, it's not. It's not Hypocrisy Day. The 4 Republicans did not sponsor this bill. It was the one Democrat that did. That is the clarification. And there are
Yeah.
2 people from
36.
from Georgia.
36.
Goddamn fucking Georgia.
Yeah, they did. 2 for Georgia.
That
Hey,
sponsored
Went
this
for it.
bill.
How do you filter this by state? I'm confused.
It'll usually
I
say, if you go to the link below that says sponsors, it gives you a full list, whether they're Republican or Democrat, and what state they come from.
Lou, I actually did my homework.
I see it.
I went through
Lou,
the full
I
list.
did-
They're all Democrat.
I actually sat down, Lou, and went through the list and put it by states. So that's how we know
Yeah.
who's and what. I did my
Okay,
homework.
there's none from Nebraska.
Nope. There's several states that were very wise and don't have no part of this.
Yeah.
I have more reasons to like my state now. Yeah.
Like, for example, Maryland, 100% of their Democrats voted for this, sponsored for this. All New England. New York had 18. California had 36, of course.
And the one that Texas had was, as Diz put it yesterday in the Discord, goddamn Al Green.
Yep, Al Green. Why is he still in office? I have no idea.
No,
Why is Pelosi
I'm gonna have a talk with Bree later. There are two people from Wisconsin. Bree.
Oh, you know Bree ain't happy.
She always tells me, "Oh, I'm glad I left Nebraska. I'm glad I got out of that state." What are you gonna say to me now?
Yeah, 36 states had at least one representative that helped sponsor the bill or worked on it.
Yeah, it's just. It is stupid. For once, I'm grateful that we have Republicans in office.
Oh my God, yes.
I never thought I'd see the day.
I know, right?
But I think what we see here is we see the true mind of what the Democrats want. Yeah. But also, I think this bill.
I wouldn't say Democrats, but I would say regressive.
The leftists, the progressives, wherever you want to call them, your friendly SJW on your corner.
Progressives is more all-encompassing of the people who want to set us back.
Yeah.
I would not say the same about some people.
I'm going to be nice and keep it clean. I won't say what I say, what they want.
Dade Murphy, this guy is an asshole and needs to die. Representative Loebsack, David, Iowa. Loebsack. Really?
Take that in for a second.
Loebsack.
David Loebsack, yeah.
What I was saying was, I think this is...
That's a totally Iowa name, because Iowa sucks.
The reason I think this bill was created was not for it to be passed, but as a political ploy to attack all incumbent Republicans this midterm.
Oh yeah. And out of the two Democrats, and I do say Democrats because Georgia's mostly a Republican state, the two idiots were Representative Henry C. Hank Johnson Jr. and John fucking Lewis, who's as old as fucking the other guy whose name I can't ever remember with the fucking racial bullcrap. Reverend somebody or another.
Oh my!
I tend not to remember names when I hate the people.
Dave said we call him Nutsuck. Nutsack. What?
Yeah.
It's
not Reverend Jesse James. It's the other Reverend.
Well, Dave, do you want to go right now? Let's go.
Lou, I hear that Iowa is a better state than Nebraska is. I hear.
You want to go shove a Hawkeyes plushie up your ass now?
Do I get a plushie? Ooh.
Make sure there's plenty of lubed.
Our state does not like we always have. It's like somebody from Norway making a joke about not liking somebody from Sweden. That's the exact same thing that happens between Nebraska and Iowa.
All right, Wolfie, do you have anything else to say for us, or about this bill, or anything?
That's pretty much it. And by the way, if you're in the military, it's not called Alpha 2. It's called Alpha Deuce. M16 Alpha Deuce.
No.
I'm not in the military anymore, so I can say what I want.
Oh, Dave, stop! Dave, stop him.
But
thank you,
Wolfie. Thank you, Wolfie. Thank you for your time and your opinion. Greatly appreciated.
Not a problem.
And, but we got to move on, though.
Yep.
We do.
So, next question. We know that if the Supreme Court, if it gets that far, which I doubt, is going to have no choice but to say that the entire bill is unconstitutional, because it is, in more ways than one. And like you said, if it is voted in, it's going to cause, this may trigger a revolution. I mean, not a civil war, but a revolution of a different type. A revolution of people that are trying to keep their firearms. Wolfie, can you please mute? We hear your kids.
Kiddos.
And the social justice warriors think they are throwing a revolution? No. If this revolution goes off, there will be bloods on the street. There'll be shit in their pants. And it's not. It's going to be for a real reason, not a made-up reason like they think.
Yeah. And if it gets voted out, and which it probably will, more than likely, since it's I believe Republican
It'll die in committee.
It'll die in committee.
I'm praying it dies, like the
it will.
plot
Don't worry,
that it is, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, man. I've seen in the last 30 years, I've witnessed our government do some pretty shifty and shady things. At this point, I don't know that I'd be surprised if it passed.
Oh, guess who's the head of this committee, though?
Pelosi.
Yep, Pelosi.
Why am I not surprised? Pelosi.
Skeletor herself. Pelosi. The Skeletor herself. Skeletor.
See,
Yeah,
this
Brian
is
is correct.
Again, I keep telling you people, this is what happens when somebody doesn't get sex on a regular basis. They lose the ability to rationalize properly.
It's the ever so prevalent non-fuckitis.
Exactly.
It's when the arthritis prevents her from properly masturbating.
Yes.
Good news about Feinstein, by the way, people. Anybody out in California? Good news. Feinstein was not picked to run for office this year, coming up midterms.
G. Bonnet said,
committee voted her down.
G. Bonnet said, "Oh, good. She thinks Bush is still president."
Well, yeah, Maxine Waters, who thinks the civil rights movement happened or slavery ended 50 years ago.
Is this Maxine Waters? Go ahead.
Yeah, Maxine Waters said that slavery ended 50 years ago. She's met the people who were ex-slaves.
Yeah. And this is the same Waters who got pissed off at the dude from Fox News Channel because he compared her hairdo with the Godfather of Soul, James Brown.
Yep.
And when I looked at the side-by-side pictures, I was like, well, God, yeah, that is a striking resemblance.
I did just look into it because Batman brought it up, but slavery in the United States was abolished on December 6th of 1865 when the 13th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified.
That was 50 years ago, right?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, we'll go with that.
50 years.
In bizarre world.
I can't maths and stuff. I'm a politician.
Do we have anyone else in the waiting room?
Nope, we don't have anybody else I see in the waiting room.
Are you guys wusses? What the heck is going on here? Do I need to drag somebody in here like freaking Skarner from League of
they
Legends?
gotta be
What is
sitting
wrong
in
with
the...
you?
Nope. I don't think anybody...
Because
Hellbound,
usually
that's
people
why-
want to jump into our show, but now it's like they don't want to come on.
The one time we ask you people.
Go ahead.
Hellbound, right? People like Pelosi deserve term limits. It's funny that people freaked out about Trump wanting to get rid of term limits for the president. Well, actually, I don't like the idea of term limits, and mainly because it inhibits the choice of the people. What I do want to see in place of term limits are the competency tests that I mentioned earlier. Especially as these people, dive face first into senility and outright madness.
Yeah, I kind of like the term limits. I'm with Hellbound, but I see your point as well, though, Mitch.
I mean, I'm forced to, because of what I truly believe. I have to come up with something, and all I have is competency tests so far. Until I come up with something
Batman
better.
isn't Maxine Waters that fat black woman who appropriates the white country culture with her stupid cowboy hats?
Yes.
Oh,
Same woman.
no, it's
Yes.
that woman?
Yes, that woman. Yes.
Oh yeah, she's gonna be bouncing around. We was cowboys and shit.
Yep.
You was not cowboys and shit.
There's a lot of them. Mad Metal Man, there's a lot of retarded nits.
Yes.
Look at California.
I'm not going to go to the extent of saying they're retarded, but they are not competent to do the job that they're enlisted to do.
I'll say retarded.
They can't. They're obvious. Look at this bill. Look at the Affordable Care Act. Look at all the stuff they've done for the last 50 or so years. They're not competent.
The only reason I'm saying term limits,
either intentionally or not, they are not competent. They need to be removed from office.
Yeah.
The only reason I say term limits is because when you have a Congress that smells like death and pee, and a councilman and a congressman can retire, there's a problem.
They're getting old and stupid, Dale Murphy and Twist Chat.
Yeah, they're in their Depends. No doubt about it. They're wearing Depends right now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just something's got to be done because It's just
Well,
that some of them,
what
to me, when you become a career politician, you completely forget why people are constantly voting you in.
Mitch,
Yes.
what was our first politicians were like if you served in Congress, real quick, compared to today? What was it like in constitutional days?
They were statesmen.
They didn't go all...
They weren't professional politicians.
Thank you.
There wasn't professional politics at that time. Now it's nothing but professional politics.
Yeah.
In fact,
You spend 2 years campaigning to get in again. You maybe if one of your campaign promises is to cut back on the number of those fake Halloween fangs because they scare the babies, then you'll add that to another bill that won't get passed. So you say, well, I did try to put it in. Well, what do you know? And then you get reelected. I'll try it again next time.
By the way, Miss T, you were multitasking. You go, girl.
Basically, they get into office and then they get paid off.
Yep.
That's what a political action committee is.
Yeah. Fuck
Pretty
why.
Political action committees are not about any kind of action. They're about buying politicians.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, truth. Hellbound says, funny enough, there is a black Democrat running for Florida's governor's seat. He, from what I know, is for gun reform, and he was on the Roland S. Martin show. Fuckwad. And at MWM Media. A career in politics should be followed by a life sentence in jail. What do you think, Maddy?
That sounds
good to me.
Well, that's one of the reasons I kind of like the lottery idea.
Yeah.
When it comes to Congress and the Senate, you get a notice at some point. Okay, it's your turn.
Yeah. Well,
and you spend a term in office.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. BS, when you take political science, doesn't stand for Bachelors of Science anymore. It stands for bullshit because that's what they hand you on a constant basis.
Yeah, there was a good handful of Democrats in Florida that went for this thing right here as well. Yeah. Of course, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
The living blonde herself.
Living embodiment of legally blonde stupidity.
Yeah, 100%.
Again, she's incompetent.
Yes, very much so.
A lot of these people are incompetent. That's the thing that I realize.
If they can't understand the Bill of Rights and if they can't write legislation that remains within the bounds established by the Bill of Rights, then they're incompetent.
Yeah.
If they don't even try, then they're incompetent on purpose.
Hold on, guys.
That makes it a conscious act.
Hi. Sorry, I view her as a yummy, delicious sandwich for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think somebody made that pun in the Discord chat the other day, and I just sat there like, okay, I saw this coming from 10,000 miles away.
Yeah, and once again, we are accepting people to come into the waiting room to give us their 2 cents on this particular issue. Good, bad, indifferent. Whether you agree with us or not, that's fine. If you don't agree with us, that's even cool too. We get to debate.
Yep. We just want to hear your opinion. We care about you.
Yep.
So this is open to you all. Please join us.
But your opinion cannot come equipped with a grenade launcher.
We have a panina.
We has a panina?
We has a
Damn
panina.
straight, you better get in this chat, bitch.
Yay!
I heard somebody was looking for a delicious sandwich.
That'll be me. That'll be me.
I'll settle for cookies.
So what do you think about this this amendment that they're trying to pass?
Good luck. That's all I gotta say.
Good luck with all the people that have guns in this country, and this is the country of freedom.
So I'll be honest. I did go crying to Mitch a couple of days ago going, did you see this shit? Like, what? And the first thing Mitch said was like, yeah, no, it won't go because there will be a civil war before that even happens. Like,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
I can see that happening with all these people with guns in this country because
What happened the last time someone came for guns in America?
Well, I mean, not even just guns. You try to take away people's land, they're going to occupy like the nearest government building.
Yeah, we've seen that happen.
People hostage for like 20 days.
No, they're not going to hold people hostage. Well, some may. I can't make any promises. Some may.
Some dumbass in California is going to do something.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll tell you this. This thing passes, it's going to give the actual gun nuts, because there are a few.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to delude myself by thinking there aren't any. There are. But this is going to give those nuts all the excuse they need to start shooting.
Yep.
And then they'll give government the go ahead and say, okay, yeah, see, we told you, and then
Exactly.
the honest people that sit here go, no, they're just the fucking stupid ones.
No, it'd be martial law.
Yeah.
That's when the government will declare martial law, and that's the end of the story. We'll be full-blown revolution by then.
Mm-hmm.
G. Bronnet writes, they're just testing us to see who should be put on the mentally unstable list. Why do you think I'm not screaming and yelling?
Yeah.
Oh, that was.
I mean,
no.
I could scream and yell some incredibly artistic and creative insults here.
Oh yeah. You're really good at that.
Do that.
But I'm being rational, because you don't meet insanity with insanity.
You know what I just figured out? Mitch is the bard of this group.
The bard?
Oh, you can weave a tale with the most eloquent of words, and people will listen.
Scary.
We have a dade.
Gory. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
We have the date.
We also has a date. We have a panini
Good
and
night,
a
Mad
date.
Metal Man. So what are your 2 cents on this dade?
Moose cow, Mad Metal Man. Moose cow.
Lopez.
Mopeds.
Scooters.
I think if you're going to talk smack about Iowa, you better remember that our football score is better than yours, and we also have more cornfields to bury
Not
bodies
what
in.
we're talking
Sir,
about.
that is
dumbass.
not the topic of the live stream.
I'm getting to the topic. I think this is a completely ludicrous idea, and we've been trying to vote Dave Loebsack out for the past 7 years. He is a complete idiot, and all he does is pander to the people that are basically older than the baby boomers, because they're so fucking scared about everything on the planet, they literally piss themselves. You think the people in Congress smell like used Depends? Fucking people.
Oh, fuck.
They are just scared, sissy-ass idiots, and the other portion is a bunch of dumbass kids who don't know anything. And then, far and few between, of course, you have the farmers and you have the hunters who are like, what, are you serious? You can't do this shit whether you like it or not? And we still don't know how this idiot keeps his job. We've had multiple Republicans and actual real conservatives get their seats within the last 12 years, especially during the Obama administration, which was a freaking miracle. Yet Dave Loebsack is sitting around sipping tea and fucking doing whatever else he thinks he does.
Shoving a dragon dildo up his ass.
Pretty much. I mean, you know, have you guys ever seen that Stormtrooper meme where this is what I do, this is what people think I do kind of shit?
Yes.
Do one with him, and it's going to be all of him sipping tea, thinking this is what people think I do, and he literally does nothing. He is a pandering asshat, and I saw him at St. Ambrose here in Davenport, and I just said to him on stage, I go, "You suck!" And they had me escorted out because he literally said, "That's offensive. My feelings are hurt," and I flipped him off, and I was escorted out. And his opponent, who was a lady. I can't believe she lost. She actually had she had been a city councilman for a good long time. She actually had military background. She had and they were talking about healthcare, so she knew what she was talking about. And she had the hands-on experience, she had the political experience, and she had the fundraising. She had everything that going for her. Yet this guy, he just basically oozed grease out of his pimples. And I mean, this fucker's like 60-some years old, and he still has zits.
Dade. Number one, take a breath. Number two,
and
when
so
you get
for
the
him,
chance, look up CPG's rules for rulers, and you'll know why this guy is still in power.
I'll be right back.
Yeah,
Okay.
that and she has somebody in Florida, and she will remember the name here, that can beat him out on absolute stupidity. She was the one person that had somebody aim a particular semi-automatic weapon at an 8-year-old's head and then decided it would be a good idea for her to run for governor.
So it surprises me. It doesn't surprise me a darn bit that Dave Loebsack would foster this. I mean,
No.
he's an asshole.
You're an asshole.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey,
That's my two.
Hey,
That's my 2 cents.
Ollie.
If this shit passes, everybody can move to the Midwest. We've got enough cornfields to bury people in, no matter
Well,
where.
we got the Everglades here, so you'll take half, I take half.
Right?
That sounds good to me. That's
and the
right.
Bayou. Don't forget the Bayou. Louisiana's on the
So
list.
we'll take a quarter. You guys take a quarter, and the other people take a
We
quarter.
got the Okie Finoki over here.
We don't just have we don't just have heaps of corn. We have heaps of beef as well. So you
Well,
don't
see-
just have to be
and
vegetarian.
the soybeans. Don't
You're,
forget.
you're forgetting. You're forgetting. The steak.
Did you say steak? Steak?
Literally, we have something in Nebraska
Oh my
called
God.
beef. It's what's for dinner.
That's right.
You're also forgetting that this was the state that Deliverance was filmed in. I think Georgia. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just
Deliverance. Awesome.
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You gotta be careful.
Thrax is in the
YouTube might
chat. The
strike.
Guardian Dragon's in the chat.
Liberals, they're what's for dinner. Liberals, the other white meat.
The other white meat, the thing we're gonna feed to make everybody cannibals.
That's right.
The problem is, if you eat a Democrat, does your IQ go down?
Yes.
Feel
No,
like
no,
I'm
no,
worried
no.
about-
That
just
just
get
genuinely depends. Do we feed them to the pigs first? Because they'll eat anything.
Oh yeah.
No. You get rabies because then all of a sudden you start becoming
Oh
rabid yourself.
shit!
Oh man.
No,
All right, we gotta
we
bring
don't
this
wanna
back.
do that. We
Okay,
like
we
our
gotta
meat.
bring this back
All right, so
around
I'm
to the
gonna go.
topic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for your input, Dale.
Yeah.
Dale, don't call me Dale.
It's
Dale.
Dale.
Here we go.
Dale, have a good night. Thank you for your input.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us this evening. Yeah, I mean, we
And
already
thank
know.
you, Panini, for joining us as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You,
I mean-
you want me to bounce? I'll bounce.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
We'll
I'll
talk
bounce.
to you after the show.
Resident Ladina.
Bye.
I mean, we already know that this is gonna die before it gets out of Congress. Period.
It better die.
Yeah, it should die in committee. It should.
And
Should.
if it doesn't, they gotta know they're looking at some sort of revolution if this shit passes.
Hey, Thrax.
Because people are not gonna willingly turn over their guns.
But like I said earlier, this is definitely an insight into what they really want.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, they want to turn America into a third world shithole country.
Yeah.
And they call the grandfather clause, a loophole.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're attacking it, because they think it's a loophole.
Yeah.
They're dumbasses for thinking that.
Again, they're afraid of something they don't understand.
The fact that this has been entertained as far as it has is troubling.
It is.
Oh, we got one more in the waiting room. Here we go. We got Batman.
Hey, Batman.
Right, I'm going to put
The British perspective.
Mm-hmm. And he is
Oh.
quiet.
For the first time.
I'm going to put my I'm going to put my 2 pence in here as the British perspective, kind of. From what I understand about America, guns are part of your culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
From what I've heard of people who have been to the United States for a while, live with Americans, the average American who's lived around guns is at the very least competent with firearms. Yes, you get idiots who go crazy. Yes, you get criminals. But even the fucking criminals are generally competent. You've got to ask yourself. You've got to ask yourself why they want to take your guns from you. I mean, we haven't had guns in the United Kingdom because it's not part of our culture.
Right.
It's just another step in the divide and conquer thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think you're onto something with the turning the United States a third world country.
I think the end result is to be a welfare state.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the result. That's the.
It depends how
They're
far. I
going
mean,
for.
even in the heyday of the welfare state over here, it wasn't the be all and end all, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Well, look, there's another aspect of that in America, though. That it's not just the welfare state part of it. There's also the prison industry.
That's right.
That's big money.
It is.
It isn't.
We've already had cases of judges getting kickbacks for putting people in prison.
Private prisons.
How do you think those numbers will go up if something like this is passed.
Well, it's like Panina wrote in the chat. First, they came for the 5th, and I didn't speak up, for I had never been arrested. They came for the 4th, and I didn't speak up, for I've never been robbed.
Nicely.
No, they came for me, and there was nobody around to speak up.
Mm-hmm.
But when they came for my guns, I shot them.
Yeah.
And look how many I put in prison just for the simplest little things.
Oh, yeah.
Well, things like this, like, for me, I don't...
The three strikes thing, if you ask me.
But that's
about California
as well.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. To me, it seems like a violation of the cruel and unusual loophole.
Yeah,
for me, I'm just sitting here and, like, things like this make me want to learn how to operate a gun and use one if I need to. Like it's things like this that make me want to do those things. Like, it's the telling of no to somebody that makes me want that all the more.
And Lou, you know what? It's in the Constitution that you can do that if you wanted to.
Yeah, the only obstacle then is my parents.
The other thing is, people are going to kill. So, yeah, if you're going to kill somebody, it doesn't matter if you can get a hold of guns or not. You're going to find a way to kill somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
But like I said in the chat, this bill, if it gets passed, there's going to be a whole day of celebration for the illegal guns markets.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, yes.
There's going to be a boom in the black market.
That's exactly what I say. Every single time they try and ban something, there's going to be a boom for it somewhere. Most likely the black market.
In fact, remind me, and I'll look up the stats, see how gun sales went when this thing came out.
Lou, surely you mean the market of colour?
That's racist.
Oh, good lord.
Damn.
Maddie, you need to have a reaction in the stream where you put like the little kid screaming, "That's racist."
Okay, I
Every
said
single
now I'll bow out.
Okay.
Thank you, Batman. Thank you for
the
your
input,
thoughts.
Batman.
Right, thank you for letting me in.
Yep.
Yep, not a problem. That's what we're here for.
No problem.
Oh, Panina's in rare form in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, she is.
Rare form in the chat? What do you mean? Hold on.
She writes, written soldiers shall not be quartered in private homes be a violation of the third if spy agents from the NSA count as soldiers. And she follows that up with such as spying on a citizen through their devices.
Yeah.
The count as being quartered in their homes. That's an interesting point.
Uh-huh.
Then what did she hit later?
David Hogg,
the best sales rep for the NRA of 2018.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
Yeah.
NRA should send him a gold star.
Yeah.
Just to troll.
I'm on it.
Yeah.
Gold star, and then on the front of it, it says, "In Comic Sans, you tried."
Jay Lana asks why target the AR-15 because that's the weapon that looks scary.
It's
and that's what they point to.
It's because it's easily recognizable. Even though they'll say everything is an AR-15.
Oh yeah.
And because of the letters AR, they like to give you the idea that AR stands for assault when it in fact stands for Armalite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from what I heard from reading articles and stuff like that, it's not really a good rifle. There's a lot better ones out there.
Oh, there are.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hell, you know what I would love to get my hands on. I'm just too cheap to do it. And it's still a cheap rifle. I'd love to go get my hands on a M1 carbine.
Oh yes, I've always wanted one. Dependable rifle, right there.
Dependable, pre-ban even. So
Yeah.
A lot of the rules don't apply to it.
And it's a really good sturdy rifle. It was made right. It's one of the few weapons in the military actually got right.
Yeah.
Oh, that and the Colt 1911.
Yep.
Maddie, you're gonna get a channel strike. People are giving ideas about guns.
I know, right?
We're already prepared for this.
Yeah.
Well, the Colt 1911 is incredible just in that it was the standard sidearm for the U.S. military for so long.
Yeah, it was. It also another dependable.
60, 70 years.
Yeah.
By the way, Callie says, let's go back to using swords.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
I know how to use a sword, and I'm happy with that.
But Callie, they're
I want to use a katana. I want to be a weeb.
Yeah. Brass knuckles are already illegal.
Yeah.
What?
Don't worry.
Oh, they've been illegal for a while.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I always wanted to try one of those.
Hey, Thrax knows some of the history I do.
Yep, in feudal Japan, only samurai were allowed to carry katanas to prevent an uprising. So, peasants became shinobi, used modified farm tools, and used dirty tactics to win to remove the feudal system.
Oh my gosh, Mitch.
That's actually the origins of the ninja.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch.
Which is nothing like what you see in the movies. What's that, Lou?
Check shooting the shit. Panina posted something.
I did. I saw it.
I'll type it in the chat.
On that note, my friends, whether coffee or tea, thank you for spending time with me and Lou.
Yes.
And
hello.
Merlin.
Goodbye.
Hi, or bye. I'm a Merlin.
And Mitch.
Lopez.
Remember, you can support this channel by going to the MWM-media.com link below and being a patron, or also doing the Streamlabs and leaving a tip. Also, too, on the website, if you want to see any more topics delved into a little deeper on the Coffee Talk, please let us know on the forum on that website. Until then, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of your family, take care of your friends, but most of all, don't let them take your guns. Have a good evening.